puzzle that it would never be able to be solved, because nobody would know which place originally belonged to which country, which people. And the people have also been changing sides, and there have been so many changes in geography. So this is not a question relating to the geography. This is a question relating to the principles. Any people following that principle, worship of one God, have every right to go to Kaaba and to use it. You understand the point? Now, as far as Hazrat Ibrahim is concerned, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam is mentioned to have broken the idols before he was made a prophet, before a teaching was revealed to him. Previously he is understood, and there is a reference in the Holy Quran, to be of the Ummah or Sharia of Hazrat Nuh. Afterwards, when he grew up, a part of his life, up to 50 years according to my calculations, he spent in the Ummah or Sharia of Hazrat Nuh. Later on, he himself was revealed by Allah some injunctions. Now, this incident took place before his 50th year, when he was a child, mere child, just come of age maybe. And there he might not have been clear on this issue. The reason why he did was he wanted to demonstrate to them that these so-called gods cannot defend themselves, cannot bear witness to anything happening around them, cannot in any way support the concept of idolatry which you have adopted wrongfully. So by way of demonstration, he did it. But he also accepted, or was mentally prepared to accept the punishment for this. He did not debate the issue by saying that there were false gods, so I had the right to break them. He knew somehow that the right to break them did not belong to him. So instead of defending him, he said, yes, I have committed this act. And according to your law, you are permitted to punish me. So there again, even if he did it against the Sharia which was revealed before him, we don't know anything about this, what was said in the Sharia of Noah. But still, he was violating law of the people, of the country. And for the punishment he was prepared to accept. And he did it. So no principle in fact was violated, only an illegal act was committed with full responsibility. Illegal in the sense of the law of the country. So that doesn't mean that Islam permits you to violate the sanctity of the places of worship or begin to break idols, not at all. In fact, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam is known to have instructed his people and is known to have given something in writing to the followers of some sacred places near Mecca, not exactly near, at some distance, which belonged to Christians, who came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked for help in this regard. They told him that we are Christians, we have some sacred houses, places of worship and monasteries, etc. on that mountain. I've forgotten the name of that mount. And we want this to be protected by your followers. He said, yes, you have a right. And he gave them a writing, and something was written in his name which bore his authority, that no Muslim, if he is a true Muslim, will ever look with bad intention in that direction, would never break a cross or a church or a place of hermitage, if he does so, he would be violating my orders and would be violating the wish of Allah. Words to that effect were written. Now, if Islam had permitted the violation of other places of worship or other gods which were imaginary, Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not have ever done this. Yes, any other questions? All right, Mr. Rashid Hayat.
Hazur, I would like to know if there is any comprehensive subject-wise interest of the books of the Quranic Messiah, the caliphs of Ahmadiyya and other scholars of Ahmadiyya. If such an interest is available, it will be a great help for ordinary people and also for scholars to rectify to original sources in one place.
Thank you. This is a very useful question and reminder to me. Now, number one, the books which are being now published as set will contain an index, I am assuring you, because already the books which we have published, new indices have been prepared for them. And previously, of course, there was a sort of index, but it did not serve the full purpose. Even perhaps this index would not be a perfect index, but it is a much more improvised and much better and wider index that has been prepared now. But this index is being prepared book by book, not as one great big key. So if you want to find out the subject matter as mentioned in the book, in any particular book, then it will be easy for you to reach that subject through the index. Now, and there is the second thing which I wanted to tell you about is that two Ahmadis on their own have been preparing indices of Hazrat Masih Maud books. One is Mirza Abdul Haq Sahib, Amir Jamaat, Punjab. And the second is Mirza Chaudhry Ahmed Mukhtar Sahib, Amir Jamaat Ahmadiyya Karachi, and at present I have also appointed him as Amir Jamaat Ahmadiyya for Suba Sindh. They have worked on these indices laboriously for a long time now. I wonder if they have completed the task by now or not. But the last time I came into touch with them, they had not yet completed the task. The moment these works are ready, either they could be amalgamated into one, or one which is better according to some to scholars who judge these two respective works. Anyway, either of the two, which is found best, will be published inshallah. And maybe they themselves publish it individually on their own. So you better remind the Private Secretary tomorrow to write to both these Ahmadi scholars and find out where it stands. The Private Secretary. Yes, please. And the second question now. Yes, please.
For the simple barter system, the economy has moved to department stores, hire purchase, imports and exports, trade and balance of payments. In order to work this system effectively, we need a huge banking system. As the modern banking system is based on interest, would Hazur kindly explain how we can have a banking system without interest